Hello, little explorers and curious minds. Welcome to Sleepy Science and Stories, where we get cozy, relaxed, and learn something incredible about the world around us before drifting off to sleep. Tonight's adventure is all about tiny creatures that are everywhere. They are called insects. Insects come in all shapes, colors, and sizes, and they're some of the most amazing animals on the planet. We'll talk about what makes an insect, meet some incredible insect workers like bees and ants, learn about flying bugs like flies and butterflies, and even meet a few creatures that are strong, dangerous, or just plain fascinating. So, snuggle up, close your eyes, and get ready to discover the world of insects. What makes an insect? To understand insects, let's start by imagining what they look like. Insects are animals, but they're not like cats, dog, or even us. They belong to a group called arthropods. That's a fancy word that means their bodies and limbs or legs are made up of little sections called segments. Think of them as tiny puzzle pieces that fit together. An insect's body is divided into three main parts. Number one is the head, where its eyes, mouth, and antennae are. Number two is the thorax. This is the middle part where its wings and legs are attached. And number three is the abdomen. This is the back part where it digests its food and stores energy. Unlike us, insects don't have bones inside their bodies. Instead, they have a hard outer shell, like a suit of armor, called the cuticle. As an insect grows, it needs to get out of the suit because it becomes too tight. This process is called molting, and it's how insects shed their old shells and grow new ones. The busy flying workers bees. One of the most famous insects in the world is the bee. Bees are super important because they help plants grow by moving pollen from flower to flower. There are over 20,000 types of bees on Earth. You can find them on every continent except Antarctica, which is too cold for them. Bees are like little workers that fly around collecting flower nectar, which gives them energy and is used to make honey. They also gather pollen, which is like food for their bodies and helps them make something special called bee bread, which they eat during winter. Bees live in large groups called colonies. In each colony, there is a queen bee who lays eggs, worker bees who collect food and build their hive, and drones who are male bees. Bumblebees, the fuzzy cousins. Did you know that bees have a close relative? They are called bumblebees, and they look a lot like honeybees but are usually bigger and fuzzier. They have long hairs all over their bodies, which help them stay warm so they can go out to collect nectar even when it's chilly. Bumblebees are also very hardworking. One bumblebee can visit around 1,000 flowers in an hour. That's a lot of buzzing around. The bee wolf, a sneaky predator. Even bees have enemies. One of their biggest enemies is a type of wasp called the bee wolf. This tricky wasp hunts bees by attacking them mid-flight and paralyzing them with venom. The bee wolf then takes the bee back to its nest, where its young larvae feed on the bee. The bee wolf doesn't eat the bee right away. Instead, it drinks the nectar that bee has collected. Sneaky, right? Hard-working heroes of the forests. Ants. In the forest, have you ever seen a big mound with lots of tiny ants running all over it? That's called an anthill, and it's like a busy city for ants. Ants are also social insects, meaning they live and work together in large groups. Just like bees, they have different jobs. Some ants are builders, others are soldiers, and some are farmers. Ants are the only animals that farm other insects. They keep small bugs called aphids, which they take out to eat plants during the day. In return, the aphids make a sweet liquid called honeydew, which the ants drink. Ants are very clever and know how to take care of each other, build tunnels, and keep their homes at the perfect temperature. Pesky flies, the buzzing nuisance. Next up, we have flies, those buzzing little insects that love to sneak into our homes. Flies belong to a group called Diptera, which means they only have one pair of wings. They also have tiny parts called halters, which help them balance when they fly. These halters are what make the buzzing sound we hear. Even though they seem harmless, flies can carry diseases, so it's best to shoo them outside if you find one in your room. The dangerous tsetse fly. In Africa, there is a fly that's much more dangerous than a regular housefly. It's called the tsetse fly. This fly has a strong, sharp mouthpart called a proboscis, which it uses to bite animals and humans to suck their blood. Some tsetse flies carry a sickness called sleeping sickness, which can be very serious. But here is some funny. Tsetse flies don't bite zebras. To them, zebras just look like a flickering pattern of black and white stripes. Metamorphosis, the magic transformation of butterflies. One of the most magical things about insects is how some of them completely change their shape as they grow. This process is called metamorphosis. Butterflies, for example, start as tiny eggs. When the egg hatch, a caterpillar comes out. The caterpillar eats and eats, growing bigger and bigger until it's ready to change. Then it forms a cocoon called a chrysalis around itself. Inside the chrysalis, something incredible happens. The caterpillar changes into a butterfly. When it's ready, the butterfly breaks free from the cocoon, stretches its wings, and takes flight. Imagine starting life as a wiggly caterpillar and then transforming into a beautiful butterfly. The Hercules beetle, the strongest on Earth. In the world of insects, there are some true strongmen, like the Hercules beetle. This beetle lives in the tropical jungles of Central and South America and can grow up to 18 centimeters long. It's also incredibly strong. It can carry things that weigh 850 times more than its own body. Imagine being able to lift something as heavy as a car. That's what makes the Hercules beetle one of the strongest creatures on Earth. Where Hercules beetle live? These beetles may be strong, but they're actually quite gentle. They don't hunt other animals or fight. Instead, they eat fruits, especially those that are soft and ripe. They spend a lot of time on the ground, but they can also climb trees thanks to their sharp claws. It's amazing to think that such a powerful insects prefer to live a quiet life eating fruit in the jungle. The world of colorful butterflies. Now let's talk about some of the most beautiful insects in the world. Butterflies. There are about 2,100 types of butterflies, and they can come in all colors and sizes. The largest butterfly, called the Queen Alexandra's birdwing, has wings that can stretch up to 28 centimeters wide. Imagine holding your arms out as wide as you can. That's how big this butterfly's wingspan is. Butterflies have tiny scales on their wings, which give them their bright colors and patterns. They use a long tube-like mouth, called a proboscis, to sip nectar from flowers. Butterflies help plants by spreading pollen as they fly, making them an important part of nature's garden. Spiders. Not quite insects. Some people think spiders are insects, but they're actually not. Spiders belong to a different animal group called arachnids. Unlike insects, which have 6 legs, spiders have 8. Their bodies are divided into 2 parts: the cephalothorax, where the head and legs are, and the abdomen, where they digest food and make silk for webs. Spiders are hunters and use their webs to catch prey. Goliath tarantula, the world's biggest spider. One of the biggest spiders in the world is the Goliath tarantula. This spider lives in the rainforests of South America and can grow as big as a dinner plate. Its body can reach up to 9 centimeters in length, and its leg span can be as wide as 28 centimeters. The Goliath tarantula is big enough to eat frogs, mice, and even small snakes. But don't worry, they don't harm humans. The dangerous Brazilian wandering spider. Finally, let's talk about a spider that's considered the most dangerous in the world, the Brazilian wandering spider. The spider doesn't spin a web and wait for food to come to it. Instead, it actively hunts, looking for food by wandering around. It's sometimes called the banana spider because it likes to hide in banana leaves. This spider is very aggressive and has a strong venom, so it's best not to disturb it. And that's our journey through the incredible world of insects. From the busy bees and hard-working ants to the magical transformation of butterflies and the strength of the Hercules beetle, insects are some of the most amazing creatures on Earth. They come in all shapes and sizes and play an important role in nature. As you drift off to sleep tonight, imagine the tiny world of insects, buzzing, fluttering, and working all around us. They may be small, but they are powerful, important, and fascinating. Good night, little explorers. Sleep tight, and remember, there is always something new and amazing to discover tomorrow.